What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building, you feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks, alright? Let's get straight right into it. So you already know, if you haven't watch the last video, you know what I'm saying? Click the link below to watch the previous video where I do my breakdown on what happened between the Clippers and the Houston Rockets. Obviously, the Clippers were home, so if you watch that and you're tuning in, so now that you're tuning in, you already know I gave you that context. So now you context all that bullshit towards me, you feel me? Anyways, so you already know, like, what happened was, you know, obviously it was a game of runs, you know, a lot of things did obviously change and all that type of stuff, and Westbrook's mentality, Westbrook's tenacity, his aggressive nature, just pushing the ball, rebounding, being aggressive, you know what I mean, going to work, shooting mid-ranges, just that never give up mentality is what brought the team back into the game. And then Harden started to get his flow through that, because now Westbrook was just pushing and was aggressive. Now the pressure was, was relieved off of Harden. Harden was able to do a 1-2 layup, do a 1-2 step back, and then that got him going at the right time. You know what I'm saying? So that's the beautiful thing of, that's what I be trying to tell Doc Rivers and the Clippers. The beautiful thing with the Houston Rockets, like they did with Chris Paul and James Harden before, they have one in at all times. So what happens is when you have both of them in, obviously it's more so Harden has the ball. He's a primary ball handler most of the times because he's the one who's averaging 40. He's the one who's cooking. It's his team, etc. You know what I'm saying? And Westbrook plays off ball. They share it a little bit, but his majority of the times is Harden. You know what I'm saying? Westbrook kind of gets it off transition, off rebounds and pushes. But then once Harden goes to the bench, you know what I'm saying? That now frees the reign for Westbrook to now have the whole court to himself, and it's basically now it's my offense. Everyone spaces out, you know what I'm saying, and I'm able to push the floor and do my thing and get my rhythm. You know what I'm saying? So it's perfect when you have one of them in at all times. One's able to be the focal point at this time, the other one's able to be the focal point at this time. Then when they link up back together, they both have rhythm. So then it's not gonna be, it doesn't matter who has the ball at this point. We're in rhythm, so I'm able to just catch and shoot. I'm able to just, you know what I mean, because I'm already in my groove. You know what I'm saying? And that's what matters when you have one in and one off with your superstars. Everybody else fills in, and Doc's not doing that. He doesn't have always Kawhi or Paul George in, so that's why you can see Paul George is getting rhythm, but then he has to always get his rhythm while Kawhi's in. You know what I'm saying? He was able to get more of a rhythm because, unfortunate, Lou Will got ejected. So when Lou Will got ejected, that actually made him, substitute Paul George right away, and it actually forced Paul George to be in when Kawhi wasn't in, and that's when he went on that little bit of a run. You get what I'm saying? And he was able to go to work. But then the minute Kawhi came back in, obviously they were going to Kawhi as the focal point of the offense. Now, what I'm trying to tell people, especially when it comes to Kawhi, sometimes he closes, sometimes he doesn't. Obviously, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, he's still a closer, but it just depends on the game. Sometimes he goes through those droughts where he does that pump fake stop. I hate when he does that. He does that dribble pump fake stop, then he has to force a pass, or he just going into these modes where his playmaking is just fugazi and it's just atrocious, and he gets cookied or whatever the case is. And PJ was actually doing elite defense down the stretch. And at times like that, when you have so many closers, at times like that, you can't just keep going to Kawhi. And what you could see when he's in that mode, you get what I'm saying? Doc or whoever has to read and has to be like, Paul George has to come get it. Especially when Paul George was the one who was cooking the majority of this game. Kawhi was cooking at points, but majority of the game and who had the most points was Paul George. So let him now play, make, and run the offense, and Kawhi go spot up. That's the benefit of having two guys who aren't ball dominant. You could play off of each one of them. You don't have to let Kawhi be the one close every play down the stretch. Now, part of it, obviously, Lou Will wasn't in the game, so they were thrown off with it, but it doesn't matter. We got to adjust on the fly. So that's my knock against them, and moving forward, they're going to have to get better at reading the situation at hand. Oh, Kawhi struggling 3 straight plays? Nah, come get it, Paul George. You get what I'm saying? Paul George struggling 2-3 straight plays? Come get it, Kawhi. You got to throw, when you have that kind of versatility, you got to be able to use it. You can't just go on. You're not a team where it's just like, it's only this guy. You get what I'm saying? He's the only ball handler. You all have bare perimeter players, Lou Will, Kawhi, and Paul George. You got to mix and match depending on the situation at hand, especially when Paul George has the hot hand. You know what I'm saying? Now, when it comes to the Houston Rockets is actually a better matchup for the Clippers. All their games have been close. They're a better matchup for the Clippers because it's perimeter versus perimeter. James Harden, Kawhi, Paul George versus James Harden, Westbrook. It's perimeter versus perimeter. It's not like LeBron, one perimeter player, and then AD is a big where Harkless will guard him, whatever. And their perimeter players are like spot up type of guys. This team is like the perimeter players actually can create and break down the offense, and then they have spot ups around them. You know what I'm saying? That's why I told people Houston is going to be a problem. They're going to be better with Chris Paul. I mean, better than they were with Chris Paul. The reason why is because, well, I don't know about playoffs because Chris Paul was a closer in the playoffs that 1 year. But in the playoffs, I mean, now because Westbrook has never had so many shooters around him, so it's hard for you to collapse on him. You know what I'm saying? Especially, imagine when Eric Gordon comes back. I don't know if Gerald Green will come back during this year, maybe not. But the way they're splashing, House, PJ Tucker, if they're splashing, they're hitting. He actually has, this is the most amount of shooters, people that could spot up that Westbrook has ever had. You know what I'm saying? So that's obviously to the benefit. So now he could go downhill, he could push at will, and he doesn't have to play just chucking free play style. They obviously, which is a good thing, D'Antoni let Westbrook be him, which means you can shoot mid range, you can shoot threes, you can go just be you. Everybody else won't do the analytic thing, but it doesn't apply for Westbrook, which is a great thing. So now you have two different styles. So it does not like we just get used to. You see how when they just had the other styles that they had with just James Harden, it's like we get used to, you see what you're doing, okay? Force you to three, we know you're doing three or two, not three or two, three or layup. You know what I'm saying? But then when Westbrook is in, it's kind of like just random. So that just throws everybody off. Oh my God, he attacked with aggression. We got to help. And it's just instincts. It's literally instincts. Even if you tell someone, don't help off Westbrook, let him just go for layups. Instincts is you just blow by, nah, my teammate can't get punched on him or you know what I mean? You just help, instant kick out. If you don't help, layup. And he was finishing tough layups. So Houston is definitely a threat. If like you've been seeing, the Clippers have had close games versus this team all the time. So it's just great to see. Obviously, the Clippers are still fine tuning things. You know what I'm saying? They're still getting better with a lot of stuff that they had. Lubo down the stretch was definitely a key component. He's definitely a closer and a ball handler, and then he could do that 2-man game with Montrez. But like I said, the Clippers there's a lot of things they have to adjust. But at the end of the day, I already know when it comes down and out, like, the fact that they had this lead and then they lost it is not a good sign, but it's also a good sign that the fact that they just need to fine tune a little bit of things to get control and don't be complacent, because they were being complacent down the stretch. And that's when Westbrook and everything, no die mentality, fight to the end mentality just carried and pushed that through. So anyways, like I said, it's just, we'll see how they go. This could be a second round matchup. You never know. You know what I mean? This could be a second round matchup. They already played 3 games, so we'll see how they go. But the game, you see teams are starting to get fine tuned and starting to get in their groove, especially when Christmas break comes and All-Star break is even another echelon. Christmas break, another echelon, then All-Star break, another echelon, and then closer to the end, another echelon that teams are going higher, and then playoff is another echelon. So it just keeps increasing. So we'll see how these teams get better. Always the first part of the season when you have new teams and new expectations, teams are, is rough. It's rough. But now teams are starting to get fine-tuned. You'll start seeing, who's gonna the dust will settle. The dust will settle soon. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, it's True Talks, because True Talks, you already know. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here. There's no drought here. You feel me? You already know. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And like I said, don't be afraid. Any donation counts. I appreciate y'all. Just click that link below if you want to donate to your boy and help support your boy. You already know. Anyways, I'm out, man.